Alrighty, everybody, welcome to another episode of GameCorp. This is the one and only gaming podcast that you will ever need. I am your host. Once again, my name is Matt Hedrick, and of course, here with me as always, the man who's always so enthused to be here, that's Chad Porto. How are you, sir?
I tell you every week, if I could cancel this show, I would. But I feel I owe you a life debt, so here I am, dragging my ass.
You owe me a life, owe me a life debt, huh?
I mean, you did help fund the podcasting for a little while, so I feel like, can't exactly cancel your fucking show now, can I? That'd be a dick move.
No, but you'll just make the experience for me as miserable as possible to make up on the back end.
Oh, if I can make you quit, that's completely different. It's one thing if I go, no, we're not doing the show anymore. It's another thing if you go, I don't want to do the show anymore. I'll be like, oh, but I was having such a good time with you.
Lies.
Yeah, obviously.
A sea of lies.
Damnable lies. So I'm wrapping my ankle real fast because I sprained my ankle like 2.5 weeks ago, and apparently it was a really, really bad sprain because it still kind of hurts.
Were you like going out for like a run or something like that, like you said you've been doing?
Yeah. Actually, that's exactly what happened. I don't know. You don't really know my area too well. There's a church right behind my house. You know, you go through the little wooded area behind my house, and there's it's like, what is it? Saint something or other. And I always just cut right through there because I cut through the back parking lot of that little mini mall that's right there with the hair salon and the Pizza Hut.
Okay.
Cross over a fence, walk behind the other little mini place. Then I use the church parking lot to get to the bike path, which is where I do my excursions. And you get there, it's the grass. You know, there's a little playground area, little is that like horseshoe area to play horseshoes or grenades? I'm not sure. And there's like a little divot where the grass is and where the cement concrete curb is. You know, it's maybe a
Okay, I'm starting to pick this up now.
right. So it's like a 4 or 5 inch difference.
Okay.
So you see it coming, you prep for it, but for some reason the landscaping, you know, at one point further down the parking lot, it's 4 to 5 inches.
Mm-hmm.
At another point, it's 9 to 10 inches because it slopes. The grass slopes and it hits this
Gotcha.
big old kind of divot. But since there's all this grass, you don't really notice the height differential because it's so minuscule. But as anyone who knows, going up a flight of steps, if one step is off a centimeter, you're going to trip on it because your body is used to a rhythmic movement that is, you know, pretty robotic in a sense. So if you're not paying attention, you're just walking, you'll hit that extra centimeter, extra inch of the step and go tumbling. Same thing happens in the wild. I didn't realize the grass dipped right there. And I stepped, and my ankle's like, hey, guess what? We're going down. I'm like, oh, fuck me. I guess we are. And I swear to God, like it was like the most intense pain I'd been in quite some time. Not the worst pain I've ever been in. Because I actually got up and finished my jog. It's actually more of a walk at that point.
I was going to say, yeah, that's more like a hop.
Well, I legitimately thought I blew something out or I broke something because of how much pain I was in at first. And then, like, after 2 minutes of rubbing my ankle and tightening my shoe, I was like, all right, let's just see if I can walk on it. I could walk on it fine. But it turned out that any jogging, any movement up and down the stairs, any lateral movement caused some pretty significant pain on the inside of my ankle. So I was like, this is a real good sprain then. So if I was a sports athlete, I would be out 2 to 4 weeks.
Yeah, this is not a time where you want something to break severely and have to go to the hospital. Not the time.
Dude, I already don't like going to the hospital. Don't cough on me.
This just makes it worse.
I don't want your aid answers like, what are you doing? Stop. No. I don't want your broken femur. Gross.
Dude, germaphobes are losing their fucking mind right now.
I don't care if I can't catch dislocated eye syndrome. I don't want it. What do you mean broken wrists aren't transmittable through oxygen? I'm pretty sure they are, nurse. This dude got divorced. Now he's in the ER. Now Now he's contagious, and I got his divorce. What does that mean? Do I got to pay the fucking alimony now? Am I gonna get divorced the first time I get married? I was already afraid of that. Like shit.
Dude, that'd be a fucking mind blower if that's how life worked.
Right.
Fuck.
Someone else's bad
That'd fuck me up.
juju goes on to you. I don't want your bad juju. Juju Macumbo. Speaking of Juju
that's a
Macumbo,
hell of a name.
have you been watching Psych? They've been doing a
I
marathon.
said Juju Magumbo would be a hell of a name.
Yeah, no, and I said, speaking of Juju Macumbo, have you been watching Psych? Because I'm pretty sure that's where it came from.
Man. Oh yeah, man. I like how they told COVID-19 to suck it.
Suck it. I haven't been watching the marathon, although I do feel kind of bad. I think I'm gonna jump in for seasons 5 and 6 here, because they're doing they're doing 2 seasons every other day or something like that for like the entire day. So I'm gonna hop in on the next.
It's every every Thursday and Friday they're doing it.
So next Thursday and Friday, I'm gonna be watching 5 and 6 then.
They also air old commercials during the commercial breaks for it too, which is kind of
Awesome.
cool.
Chuck did a reunion, I think. Psych did a reunion. The cast of That Thing You Do, the 4 actors who played the band members, did a reunion. So, we might die painfully of a respiratory illness that people don't seem to be taking seriously anymore. But at least we're getting a lot of reunions out of it.
Right? Like the reunions we've always wanted, but they come at the worst fucking time.
Chuck's, I haven't watched the Chuck one yet. They did a table read, apparently. At least that's what they were marketing it yesterday. I'm going to look for it after the show, because I do kind of want to see that. I want to see fucking yoked Zachary Levi and fucking gorgeous Yvonne Stropsky.
Oh my God.
Goddamn. So, did you know that we were doing a podcast covering the Chuck seasons on the Ohio guys side of things?
I have been seeing that. Yes.
We came up with a running joke that anytime Sarah was on the screen, we joked that her name's not Yvonne Stropsky. Her name is Yvonne Stropsky, because she's just so fucking potent. You had to hit the extra Ofsky.
Now which job would you have preferred from her, like the one she had as like a front, the sausage place or like the ice cream type joint?
Definitely the orange.
Oh my God.
There's just the colors, the top. If we could have gone with like a pair of skirts with that top, like perfecto. But
it's like a little sporty top, It's
right?
awesome.
Oh goddamn. That's why I like tennis players so much.
That's awesome.
I don't give a fuck about the skills. Y'all just look gorgeous in those attires. Did I ever tell you that? Now I know how women and gay dudes feel about baseball players. Like, I get it. All right, so you want to do Night Trap. I think you're a fucking sadist, and I hate you.
To be fair, I hate this game after playing. I've never played this before. I've heard about the controversy, how this actually started up or got conversations going about the rating systems for games, because I believe this caused like a big there's a big core battle or something like that over this. I believe how there was some president, I can't believe it, I think it was of Nintendo or something at the time, said that this will never be on a Nintendo console, and that was like the big argument, like, is this violent enough game to get a mature rating?
Yeah, and nothing happens. 50 minutes of fucking gameplay. Nothing happens. It's like a goddamn just debacle, man. I tell you what, like, these dudes don't do it. Like, there's more violence in Home Alone than there is in this game. It's fucking ridiculous, man.
That should fucking tell you something, man. It should tell you something.
I'm gonna spoil everything right now. There's no way in hell anything in this game gets above a 1 from me. Like, we can expedite the review process that quickly when it comes to this game.
I'm not gonna sit here and sugarcoat it to you either, man. There is a whole aspect of this where I really struggle. There's one thing where it's supposed to work a certain way, and I just can't wrap my head around it.
See, this game would have been so much more effective if it was just about nudity, which, by the by, there isn't any. Fucking teases. They market it as this opportunity to see. Ah, God damn it, Matt. Matt's internet again died on us. So while he gets his shit back, we're gonna just talk about how this could have actually been saved. You know, a lot of the issues with this game came with the voyeuristic approach that they went with it. You know, there's all these shots of them, you know, like, you know, outside the bathroom, you know, in towels. They're having little pillow fights and all that. And it's just total crapola. I think we can actually find a video that better shows it. That just seems to be the gameplay. This is the 25th anniversary definition cut. So, Night Trap the movie. Oh, this is just the cutscenes? Wait, what is this? From the PC game. So essentially, it's just kind of like a voyeuristic experience. So we're gonna get Matt back on.
All right, I'm back.
Jesus Christ, Matt. So as I was saying, there's no nudity in this game whatsoever. And had they gone with the route of the more voyeuristic content being more about kind of trying to get like an audience for these willing participants of these young ladies doing provocative things, it still would have garnered an uproar, but at least people would have wanted to see it.
Yeah, like almost nothing happens here. Nothing. Like you just keep flipping through rooms. There's just people randomly talking about nothing.
You got some Kim Cattrall lookalike. It's just trash, man. Like I don't even know. Like I don't even know what the big uproar was. Like even like the lingerie is like so super tame, and I'm talking about tame for the fucking 90s. This game came out in like what, 89. Like it's a
Was
goddamn
it really that?
joke.
It came out during the Sega CD. It came out during the Sega CD, so I don't think it could have been 89, honestly.
Oh, regardless, it was a fucking joke. Like you got villains peeping on girls, but doing it in such a nonchalant way. Like you got the hands on top of the shower, going, "Oh, who is it? Who is it?" Like it's a fucking joke.
And like
man.
the deaths of this are so fucking stupid too, right?
Can you even say their deaths, because they all just kind of disappear down a hole eventually?
Right, like the guys just get grabbed and they just get pulled off a frame, and then that's it. You don't hear a scream, nothing, just boom, gone.
Like the bandits go out more along the lines of a goddamn Looney Tunes character. Add in the whoop sound effect, or like have one of them hold up a sign like, "Well, this ducking sucks," and they fall into the hole. Like that would have been fucking hilarious. And by the by,
At least throw some cheese factor into it, right? Like throw some cheese into it.
How the hell do these people have secret rooms in the house? Like what is even going on here?
What I want to know is how does a fucking mirror open up into another room like that? Like that's a perfectly cut hole for a mirror. That's insane.
So graphics, I'm giving a 1. Sound, I'm giving a 1. I'm not even fucking. I hate you for this game. Fun factor 1, challenge 1, gameplay 1.
Wow, you're not even fucking trying. All right. Then again, to be fair, this game doesn't try itself. So there's that point.
This is one of those games that you would have played on like the VCR. You ever played those games before?
Just like the little interactive like menu things you click on the thing.
No, they used to have like actual VCR type of games. Like you'd set up like the little thing and it would plug into the VCR, and then like you'd have like a light gun or some bullshit. They were really popular in the late 80s, early 90s. I shouldn't say really popular, but they were around. They spoofed it in an episode of Community in like season 4 or 5 with Allison Brie. So like that's what this felt like. So I'll go down real quickly. Why? Are you there?
No, I'm here.
Okay, I think you said hello. I'll tell you really briefly why each one got the ones. Graphics, I think the full motion video is fine, but I'm not playing a fucking video game for full motion video. I'm just not. There's nothing about the music in this game, sound-wise, that I think hooks me. And outside of that, it's kind of, just redundant fucking dialogue, whatever. Gameplay, it's a point-and-click fucking nonsense, and it's all fucking time-based. It's nothing but QuickTime events, only in 1990. Fun factor, outside of the cheese of this game even existing and the fact that there's like a woman who's 6'3" in this, I don't mind climbing. There's nothing about this I would derive as fun. And as far as a challenge goes, the only challenge you have is trying to get through the goddamn cutscenes before you fall asleep. So there's really no enjoyability about the accomplishment of the challenge, which, by the way, is what we have decided that the challenge now means, is how enjoyable was it to beat. And honestly, I hated Matt so much I stopped playing after 20 minutes because I couldn't do it anymore. Because I fucking hate him. As far as the co-host goes,
I hate myself, all right? I hate it myself.
You get a 4. That's right. You get a 4. You're somehow worse than Night Trap.
So one of my categories got absolute 0.
No, you don't get a category for fun factor. You're so bad we've taken the category away. All right.
Wow.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
All right, fucker. You graded this fucking game because goddamn.
It's not going to be any better. I'm telling you straight up. Like,
let's do Night Trap.
There is nothing. I wanted to go weird. It fell on my face. Just moving on. Okay.
We can go weird. Next time, let's go weird and good.
Well, I'm trying to find something that you were requesting, and I'm hoping I can get it soon. So we'll do that. Well, I'm trying to shoot for that as the next one, I hope.
Well, we don't need to be coy. I'm requesting Dark Watch.
And I'm trying to get it, man, but it's not digitally, and I can't get it. Good luck trying to get a physical copy. Can't leave the fucking house. So.
Yeah, the best bet is to see what Amazon has. I don't even know if you have a PS2 or a PS3 backwards compatible, but I know that they were on there for a while. I don't know how accessible they are anymore, but that's what I played on was a PS2.
All right.
PS2 is great. We could do RE4 if we haven't done that one yet.
Resident Evil 4. That's kind of strange you're saying that because I'm working on Resident Evil 3 right now, the remake.
Well, we could also do. I haven't played 3 yet. I'm seeing all these like not bad reviews but disappointing reviews. I'm just kind of like, oh no. Still want to buy the Final Fantasy. I don't know.
Well, Final Fantasy's doing better review-wise, so you're probably going to have a better shot at that at least.
Oh no, Final Fantasy's doing great review-wise. Because Inside Gaming Daily is like, Kotaku is like losing all their best guys, so maybe they're gonna close down and shit. And this bitch pulled out a gun on an alien. Oh my god, that's fucking hilarious. What is this fucking game, man? I did not play this long enough. I may have not given this its proper due.
You may have been missing out on some like a hidden gem or masterpiece at this rate, right?
And he's going into the secret room. Oh my god!
This game's ridiculous, man.
And he just fucking takes the gun and no one even cares. And now a tall chick who's by the by, everyone's wearing weird ass clothing. You got some chick in late 80s mall fashion attire. You got one chick in fucking, jazzercise wear. You got another chick in pajamas, another chick in a nightie. And then you got this broad right here who's all of 7'4", which I don't mind climbing, with white shorts and a blue bikini top. Like no one has an idea what this party's supposed to be. Is it an 80s party? Is it a pool party? Is it a jazzer party? Is it some kind of weird ass fucking hanky panky party? Is it like an old school high school slumber party? Like I don't know what the hell's going on here. And then you got random dudes around the house. Like I don't fucking know.
It's so ridiculous.
It's fucking. No,
I'm gonna tell you straight up, man. My explanation's not gonna go on for that long either. Graphics are one without question. This is just about as dull and straightforward and boring as you can get for a presentation. So there's nothing spectacular for any aspect of that. Sound, I personally didn't hear much of the dialogue because I was spending most of the time flipping through each screen just trying to find the guys. So from what I did hear, though, yeah, not good, not good at all. So that's a one as well. And gameplay, and this is the shit that frustrated the fucking hell out of me. The mechanic of this game relies on having to have a certain color activated at a certain time to unlock a trap. Okay. And the issue I keep having is you're supposed to listen to the dialogue in order to unlock the trap. But the bitch of it is by the time you're done listening to what these people are saying, some other guy just walked away. You could have possibly trapped. So doing that is pointless too. And half the time you try to activate it, you don't know what you're trying to do because the button won't fucking respond. So this shit's just, ugh, I just can't stand it. I gave up at like a half an hour, so I'm not much better than you. So gameplay is a one without question. Fun factor, fuck that. This fucking game. It was a struggle. It's a struggle to play through when all you're doing is just getting frustrated every single time you restart the game. There's nothing fun. The only fun I even remotely had was watching these bumbling idiots get caught in a trap, and that's not even that fun.
It's fucking hilarious to
And
watch them all like hunched
maybe
over and just fucking dragging ass.
like overacting to the max, right? Like completely.
Not even overacting. They're just literally bent over the entire time.
Whoever designed this house is insane too, just sliding out for no fucking reason.
Right. All right, so it gets 5 out of 25, 20%. It's fucking terrible.
Yeah. Challenge wasn't a million different for me either. Yeah, that was gonna be a one too. But yeah, no, it's Jesus. I'm sorry. This is gonna be one of the first times where I'm literally gonna say to you, I am sorry. I have made a mistake, and you can hold it over my head. All right.
Yeah, you made plenty of mistakes, but I'm gonna make sure this one sticks.
Yep. I am full on apologizing and taking all of the blame for this one because oh my God, I thought I was gonna get something different, and I was so fucking wrong.
You thought you were gonna get boobs. You did.
And I got jack fucking shit for it. Just controversial my ass. This was a fucking like watching a shitty movie on a old VHS tape. Fuck.
So Resident Evil 4, Resident Evil 2 remake. Those are my suggestions for the next show.
Resident Evil 4 and Resident Evil 2 remake, huh?
You said you have.
It's strange that you. I do have RE2. I actually have all the ones you're mentioning, and I have them all for Xbox. I got Resident Evil 2 remake, 3 remake, and I just got the 4 in HD on Xbox One today, actually. So we can do any of them, whichever one you want to do.
Alrighty then. So I actually want to talk real fast about RE4 before we get into the useless news.
Okay, sure.
I actually have opinions on Lave Video Game. Look at that. Our video game podcast, I'm finally contributing. Only took 3 years. In my
Where
defense,
the hell have you been?
in my defense, Matt's been terrible at it. He's killed all desire.
And in my defense, Chad crushes my soul every week.
Well, in my defense, you did make me sit through Night Trap, so it's fair. So everyone's kind of bitching about Resident Evil 4 getting a remake, and truthfully, this might have been, to the best of my knowledge, the first game of the Resident Evil franchise I ever ended up playing. But definitively, it's the first Resident Evil game I ever remember beating. I think I may have played 3 with my buddy at his house. And I know every time I went to the fucking Blockbuster, I always saw a Resident Evil Director's Cut. And I always just assumed it was like some kind of like modded bullshit, fucking half of the game nonsense. Because that was a thing back in the 90s. Hey, this demo disc has like the first stage. Why don't you play it? Because I've never heard of a game getting a director's cut before. And the box art looked terrible and the graphics looked terrible. I'm like, this can't be Resident Evil. This game looks terrible. So with 4 came out, it was 4, 0, and 1 remake. All came out around the same time for the GameCube, like because Nintendo had first rights to Resident Evil at the time. So I got it a year later when it came over to the PS2. And I'm going to be honest. I played the first one. I played 0. I don't remember 0 that well. And I played 4 all around the same time frame, but 4 was the first one. And I enjoyed 4 the least. And I'm not a big survival horror guy. I'm not like a big Resident Evil fan, although I am kind of on a Resident Evil kick at the moment. And there's a lot of things with this game I think can be definitely done better with a remake. So, firstly, I don't have any of these written down, so I'm going to be kind of shooting from the hip. Not being able to move and shoot at the same time, that's dumb.
Yeah, that's a big problem.
Now, I liked how in Resident Evil 2 and I think in 3, the remakes, you can move while you're shooting, but move while you shoot, but it doesn't, the aim isn't as good, and it's best to set your feet, but that's just a real-life mechanic. So I don't mind that. But, like, you had to shoot, turn around, run, stop, turn back around, and shoot. While in 2, you can just back up and stop and shoot, and then back up and then stop and shoot, and So it's a lot more definitive in the way the mechanics work. Secondly, the graphics haven't aged well. Like,
No,
like
really.
they're good for the
pretty ugly.
PS2. They're good for the PS2. I'm not going to deny that. But I'm having fantasies about Claire Redfield. Computer Claire Redfield. Because she's photorealistic. So, you could do better there. Secondly, I think there's a lot of this game that I think gets lost. I don't think fans remember this game as well as they think they do. The game's, not scary at all. It's so bad in that regard.
This was like the biggest first dive into it being like full blown action, right? If to my knowledge.
Yes. Well, it was the encroachment because it was still. I would say 1, 2, and 3 were, and even 0, 1 remake, and Code Veronica. Although I didn't play Code Veronica, so I don't know. Were survival horror. I would say this transitioned into gothic horror, where it's not so much about surviving, but it does have an ambiance of fear. Kind of feels like I don't remember the game that came out like 2 years ago, but you're like trying to stop a cult and you're running through the woods and you had to find like a little girl and then the world ended or some bullshit. Kind of felt like that, only with a gun.
Does it disappoint you that the trend went like that though? Like they became less scary over time. Does that bother you at all?
No, I don't think it bothers me necessarily. I liked 4 enough. I wouldn't say I hated it, but I did least like it the most. I did not like 5 at all. And that's a shame because I love Chris, I love the Wesker story, and I love Sheva. She was so cool, but I don't know. I wasn't a fan of the aesthetics. Like, you were kind of just in like the slums, and it was very depressing. And I wasn't too big of a fan of like just more Las Plagas or whatever the fuck this was being called. So they were trying to go in a completely different direction to try to freshen up the idea of zombies, and I'm just like, nah, I'm good. The other thing is I liked 6. I generally like 6. I thought 6 did a great job kind of incorporating 4 different types of gameplays into one game. So I don't really have that big issue with 6 as I do with 5 and 4. And 4 for me is more of a lack of execution on things that could have been great.
I love how you're in the minority on both of these games.
Oh, yeah.
I love how it's like you're completely flipping the script. I think that's freaking insane.
Well, yeah, and I probably am. Part of the problem is there's kind of this desire among people to follow the narrative. They don't like coming out against the narrative. They don't like speaking out against the narrative. Because once the narrative is set by certain standards, like by certain people within the industry or certain people who have clout, then to go against it would be risking bringing vitriol on yourself for some reason. And I don't get it. I like 6. I don't like everything about it, but I like it. It's a good game. I love playing the Peters and Chris final monster fight. That was great. The Leon and I don't remember what her name is. I hated playing that arc, that chapter, the Leon chapter, because it legitimately scared me. Because
At least it did its job,
right? So like you start off in like a zombie infested like a political rally thing, and the president's dead, and you got to find his daughter again. I don't think you actually have to find his daughter again. I'm just being a dick. And then you end up like in the catacombs, and like you're underground, and like this monster bitch lady's following you, and I'm just like, no, get me out.
You know, the way you talk about this game, like maybe we should do 6, maybe instead of 4. Maybe we should cover this since it's kind of like an odd one in the series.
I mean, we could cover them all. I don't give a fuck. So the only one I would say that disappoints me would probably be the Sherry Birkin and Jake Mueller part, although I did find some of that to be really enjoyable. My only problem was when you build a game, you build around specific engines, you build around a specific idea within the game, you build around certain mechanics. So you really can't differentiate too much from game to game to game, because that's what essentially 6 was supposed to be, was 4 different games. If they would have been able to do 6 with the Mueller Sherry story with this Uratark or Unatong or whatever its name was, which was basically this giant nemesis beast that followed Jake and Sherry around. If you're able to do that like 3 did it, or at least the original 3, where this thing popped up at all the time and you didn't know when it was going to be, that would have been great. But instead it was mostly predetermined quick time events, and it was not as spooky as it could have been. And then Ada had a standard, sneaker mission where she was sneaking around. I liked it. I like sneakers. I like fighting games, and I like the spooky Yukis. And the thing is, I really like Sherry and Jake. And Jake had the best gun. He had an elephant killer or elephant pistol or something like that. Oh god, it's fucking. Every time he shot it, his elbows go above his head because of the recoil. I was like, oh, this is so cool.
It's awesome.
Yeah, it had a lot of good parts to it.
Would you say this is like the most? 6 was like the most experimental one then?
Oh yeah, at least of the mainline series before 7. 7 definitely takes the reins of most experimental because it's first person. You're only dealing with a small core of villains. You're having body parts chopped off, and I'm supposed to believe that pouring liquid over it somehow heals, a decapitated foot.
Because game science.
Right. So, there's a lot of suspension of disbelief. But then again, in the Resident Evil franchise, if you get bit by a zombie, you become a zombie. But the only way you get attacked in these games, it seems like is if you get bit by a zombie, and no one ever turns into a zombie. So I don't know. Don't nitpick too hard is what I'm saying. But as far as 4 goes, one of the things, besides the mechanics of how you engage with the enemies, more enemies that creep you out. That's a big one. Get rid of the Las Plagas storyline. Just make them zombies. Because I don't give a fuck about Las Plagas. It's a dumb fucking angle, and they're like, oh, like sometimes like a Las Plagas fucking tail emerges from their head. It's so spooky, and I'm like, no, kind of just look like a half-life alien now.
Now, if I remember, most of the enemies in Resident Evil 4, like most of the zombies, they almost looked like there's like farmers, there's like pitchforks and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
Wasn't those a lot of those look like?
RE5 and RE4 went to a different regions. RE4 was like Romania or like mid-eastern Europe or some bullshit. And Africa was like the heart of 5 was like the heart of Africa. So like you had very distinct, very definitive, very obvious location choices for what the locales would look like, and the locals as well. And in 4, it was like the kind of like the bumfuck woods of like Bulgaria or not some nonsense. Bulgaria is more Asia, or not Asia, but lower Europe around the Mediterranean. This is more kind of like the Balkans.
Now that part of the story, that what you were talking about, that part of the story. Now you think if something like that was gone, would it like ruin the game in any way? Like, is it essential to it in any way or no?
The Las Plagas?
Yeah.
Well, the Las Plagas isn't definitively attached to the story. The Las Plagas is just the new virus. Instead of it being like
Okay.
the T virus or the G virus, it's the Las Plagas. So instead of turning them into
Yeah, I'm not
zombies, they
fully
turn.
like familiar with this game. That's why.
Well, if you let me talk, I'll explain it. The Las Plagas, instead of turning them into zombies, turns them into mind controlled, kind of like vegetable people. Like they got some kind of fungus in them now, and like if you shoot their head off, it'll either kill them or like some kind of Las Plagas growth will emerge from it. And it's like, all right, I guess this is a thing now. And it's not spooky. It's not cool to look at. It's just kind of like meh. And the entire selling point of the game, when I originally saw the trailer for it, was like, oh, you're going to be in this Eastern European village, and you're going to have to survive, being in this village, and it's going to be awesome. And I'm like, yeah. But then it's like, oh, the village scene was only like 20 minutes, and now you're into some fucking ugly, gray-ass, uninteresting wooded area, and then you got like a mountain trapass, and then you had like a crater. Then you had to fight like a fucking giant ogre thing with a dog. That was fucking stupid. Although I'm always fine with having a dog as a sidekick. Then you go into the fucking stupid castle, and it's a goddamn stupid fucking castle. So you have goddamn stupid fucking castle things. Then you get the fucking escort missions with the goddamn president's daughter, who is trying to fuck you the entire game, and I am not being hyperbolic when I say that. Like, she literally wants the Leon D. Kennedy. There is after all that, there is another scene where you're in a cottage that's being surrounded by the locals. That's pretty cool, but again, that's not really all that great. And then finally, you leave the castle and like you go to like a fucking island to fight the final bosses, and then you have to like gun your way through all of the bosses like little henchmen. Then you have to fight Krauser, and your Krauser's like a big, oh my god, Krauser's Wesker's Leon. Krauser's Leon's Wesker. That's what I meant to say. He's a former member of Leon's group who betrayed Leon in a game that no one played. So we had fucking no idea who he was. And it's like, oh my god, Krauser, you used to be my friend. Until you walked out on me. And I'm like, what? I don't even fucking know you, bro.
You just show up and you assume you're important.
And then half his fights goddamn quick time events, so fuck quick times. And then like the other half of his fights, you just shoot him. So I'm like, all right, this is fucking dumb. He's like, oh, I got a big arm thingy now. I'm gonna stab you, and you're like, I am stabbed. And then you beat him, and it's like whatever. And then you fight Salazar, and I think Salazar is like a little dude, and he turns into like this fucking wall. He becomes the original Doom essence of evil or whatever, personification of evil, whatever that fucking villain was called. That's essentially what Salazar becomes, and like the main villain becomes like this giant cockroach creature. I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah, not really scary, just more annoying.
You did have someone called the Judge or like the Mayor, and he was like this big 8 feet tall hulking motherfucker. And I was like, oh yeah, he's gonna be so cool. And then like he like takes his trench coat off and like he detaches from his lower half, and he just kind of like swings around on shit, and you're like, oh, in like a barn fight that's on fire, and you're like, oh, well, this had potential.
I'll just drop the disappointment
Oh
on you.
god,
Man.
it did. Like everything I was hoping for, I didn't get. Like honestly, I think I would have more preferred the original RE4 idea of Leon being in a haunted castle. Like that would have been cool. So change mechanics, change the entire map, because like this game suffers from a poor fucking map. Change the Las Plagas virus into something actually cool or scary. Change the map. Focus more on the village. Have that be a major component throughout the game. I wouldn't mind if you changed the villains a bit. Instead of like having like slow lumbering, like maybe have like more Crimson Heads, like from the RE1 remake. So like they're sprinting after you. That'd be fucking terrifying. Instead of having one Mr. X, you have a fucking 180, and they're all coming for you. That'd be awesome. Just fucking redheaded fucking zombies looking to eat your face, and they follow you throughout the game. They're ungoddamn relenting. That'd be horrifying. I wouldn't be.
So you want that in place to like add more of the tension. Then is what you're saying.
Oh yeah, because the original villagers they carried like a pitchfork or like an axe or like a torch, and maybe they throw it at you, or maybe they try to stab you with it, and you're like, oh. Then like you get like the one cool guy. He had like a burlap sack and he had a fucking chainsaw, and he just fucking came for you that entire trip around the village because it literally was only 20 minutes. But then as soon as the bell rings, they're all like, "Oh nope, we're done trying to chase your ass later," and you don't see any of them ever again.
All I ever remember from the enemy like AI in this game is that it basically boils down to like a fucking shooting gallery at some point, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean that's essentially what it is. There was one cool villain. I forget what they were called, but they essentially had like, I think they were called the Iron Maidens, and like they would shoot their spikes out while they were walking, and they couldn't see you. I think they could only hear you. I'm thinking that's right, because like you could avoid them at all costs, but if they were coming for you, you'd have to fight you. You had to fight them, and I think at one point you had to fight one for sure, because they end up cornering you in like a laboratory. I think there's some Ada in this game. There's a lot this game could redo, a lot. And I don't.
It seems like it.
I don't feel like this game is like perfect. I don't think this game is that good. It's not bad. It's not poorly made for 2003, 2004. It looks and plays well. But this was when Capcom was going very arcadey with games, and you could definitely tell that with this. So, I think this game is all nostalgia, truthfully.
So is this? You wouldn't say this is like your least favorite in the series, would you?
No, 5 is definitely my least favorite because 4 was enjoyable enough. You know, like 4 is not a game. It was terrible. Anyone who likes it's a stupid idiot. No, like 4's fine. 4's good. It plays fundamentally well. It has good graphics for its era. But if you're gonna sit here as a fanboy and go, it doesn't need a remake, and I'm gonna sit here and go, besides the graphical difference between 4 and the original number 2s and 1s, these games play the same. In fact, 4, I would argue, is arguably the biggest game in need of a remake because the puzzles in this game sucked. You want to know how I remember that?
How's that?
I suck at puzzles, and I can't remember one single goddamn puzzle that gave me a headache in this game. Not a fucking one.
Guess that's a definitive stamp, man.
So, what's we gonna do here, RE folks? We really gonna bitch about getting, quote unquote, the best Resident Evil ever on a remake? Really? We really gonna play that? Nah, we're not gonna play that. We're not gonna.
Well, people are trying to play do the Code Veronica one as a remake or something. I
don't
know.
Code Veronica deserves a remake because Code Veronica looks like shit. I would say 2 and 3 have better graphics than Code Veronica. And here's the problem with that. The Dreamcast was a better system than PlayStation. We know this. But the Dreamcast was trying to have higher resolution polygons and better graphics. The problem is when you're trying to do all that, you end up stripping away some of the elements that could really benefit the game. They didn't have those, what are they called, the matted backgrounds?
Matted backgrounds.
The fucking color focused or photo focused or whatever. They're just fucking images. They're images and you're running through it. They didn't do that with Code Veronica. There's a lot of fog in Code Veronica. Whenever a game has a lot of fog or is distorted, you know that they're doing that because they can't, process the entire image. There's a lot of limitations on that. But outside of the polygons and the characters looking better, nothing else does. Like every kind of facility, room, or what have you feels very drab and very uninteresting to look at. So Code Veronica definitely needs a remake, but it's not like Resident Evil 4 doesn't need one either. It's just fans are too busy realizing what the game was as opposed to what it has aged to become. Resident Evil 2, in my opinion, the remake, might be the greatest Resident Evil game of all time. And it makes all these older games so irrelevant in so many areas. And I think the only one that really can stand up to the juggernaut that RE2 remake has become is the Resident Evil 1 remake. And that's just because of how polished and perfect looking it really is, despite its very dramatically bad gameplay. Because let's face it, no one fucking likes hand controls.
No. It seems like the way you're talking about it, Resident Evil 4 could benefit from a lot.
Oh yeah.
And it's just like people are getting. I think people get to put that nostalgia goggles on it like almost immediately. Like, oh, it's great. It doesn't need anything, and it's like almost anything from that era to some degree could deserve a remake to some degree to modernize the mechanics and make it more accessible to people who could possibly enjoy it now. You know.
Mm-hmm. Plus, you can.
I don't see a problem
scary.
with it either. I would play it too. You know.
If you can actually make it scary too, that'd be awesome. Just saying. I would
Modern
definitely
graphics could really help that too. You know.
I would definitely make the judge or whatever his name was, the big hulking villain dude, not the main villain, but the one most synonymous with the trailer. I would definitely make him a lot bigger piece of the puzzle, and I would definitely have him play more of a tyrant-esque, Mr. X-esque presence, where you're constantly dealing with him throughout the game. I would even do this to such a degree where I would give Ada her own separate side story, like a second run, but with Ada. So like you'd play the original game with Leon for 5 hours, and then you'd have another 5-hour campaign with Ada. Only unlike the RE2 remake, I'd actually have them interacting with one another and having one another's decisions affect the other one. I thought one of the things that you could have done with the RE2 remake, and I don't know if they did this in RE2, the original, because I didn't play Claire's story when I played the original RE2, is whenever Leon would take something, have that affect Claire's run and vice versa. So if like Leon took every bullet in the PD, now Claire doesn't have any bullets to get in the PD. I thought that would have been a cool mechanic and forced you to ration not just your bullets but her bullets as well, and have more convergences with one another and have each action affect one another. Because the one thing I will say about RE2 that disappoints me is that the bosses are all very beat by beat. There's no real difference between who Jill fights and who Chris fights. I mean, not Chris. Jill and Leon fight until the very end. Leon fights Mr. X. Jill fights Birkin. But throughout the game, you're dealing with both these forces at the same time. So, you know, it's kind of one of those things that I think they could have done a better job. And if I did a remake for Resident Evil 4, I would have Ada have a completely separate campaign where each actions that each character has in their respective campaign affects the other person in their campaign. That way you up the replayability. That's just my idea, though.
The one thing that interests me about this is that one of the more popular places where Resident Evil 4 like really succeeded was actually for Nintendo. And it succeeded a lot on the Wii because of its pointer controls being actually functional. I'm wondering if with the remake like this possibly, you know, being in the works, is that maybe we could get it might not be the best performing, but why not do a Switch port or something like that? Maybe it could be interesting.
I mean, that's up to people smarter than me about how to make games. I don't give a fuck. I ain't gonna play on the Switch.
Here's the thing. I mean, like Doom Eternal's getting on Switch. You know what I mean? They put The Witcher on there. There's a bunch of these big games on there. So I wouldn't put it past them to at least try to make it run maybe at a slightly lower frame rate to do things, so that way it could actually be functional. But I would love to see them take a shot with it because that was one of their more successful Resident Evil games on a Nintendo console.
Yeah, I don't know. Don't care. You ready for the
You
useless
don't,
news?
but I sure am.
Now it's time for your useless news. With your host, Headless Hedrick. And on sports, Crazy Legs McGee. Now to the front desk.
I don't know how I'm supposed to talk without a head, but I'll give it a shot. Thank you very much for the introduction, as always. My name is Matt Hedrick, and this is your useless news. Here are tonight's top stories. that you will not consider those because of what the name of the show is. Um, the the ESRB rating has now decided to add new classification for games with loot boxes or microtransactions. Any game that has these now will have an in-game purchase, includes random item section underneath the rating. Well, you should have done this a long fucking time ago. I don't know why it took so goddamn long to do it, but I'll tell you this too. It's not going to affect anything. It's not going to change. I don't think it's personally going to change anything because you're going to add that to say something like NBA 2K20 because of all its microtransactions. And there's gambling in it and stuff like that too. I think you're leaving out a lot of variables when you're adding this rating to it. You're kind of being vague, and that's not really helpful to mitigate this problem, I don't think.
What are they supposed to do? Literally all they can do. So it's fine. It does serve a purpose, though, because a lot of kids who buy games have their parents do it. And if you slap this on a game and you're like, oh, shit, I'm paying $60 for this game and my kid's going to run up a $4,000 credit line, no. So, I don't know. I think it might work, at least to a degree. Also, legally speaking, this ensures that parents can no longer sue for their children's stupidity.
Yes, because now it is blatantly put on the box that, hey, idiot, this is what it has.
You know what I would have done? Perfect. Put in-game purchases, TESRB language violence, in-game purchases, caution, coffee may be hot. Just fucking confuse the hell out of them.
It's just random things to be concerned about that have nothing to do with the game.
Do not ingest rat poison, coffee may be hot. There you go. And then put political facts like on this day in 18 something something so and so shot President so and so, and little rhymes like there once was a woman from Nantucket. So Nintendo Switch, I dumped the make your own Nintendo Switch story because why was that a story?
Because it's becoming an issue with scalpers now, and somebody decided to go and get parts for it themselves, and was going to show you and was showing people how to make the process work, and you can do it for about $100 or so, I believe, under the actual price for it, like the best model or something like that. But it requires a lot of experience, so that would be the issue.
Right. So again, I ask, why is it a story? Price gouging on scalpers is more of a story. I understand why you put it in there. I'm saying that it's not a story, so I cut it. Nintendo Switch, though, there aren't any. And I don't know why there aren't any, but there aren't any. It's not like we haven't known Nintendo Switch is popular. It's just kind of stupid.
Yeah, it's just a pain. It's another one of those victims of something, like people trying to sell something at a markup, and because it's in a shortage, and now expecting people to pay like $400 or $500 for it, and no, it's not going to happen. This is the same thing like with the classic systems that happen. Eventually, enough of them are going to get made, things are going to bounce back, and
just wait.
This isn't even going to matter.
Just wait. Just don't be impatient. Just fucking wait. Fuck these scalpers. Nintendo Switch's latest update adds custom control features plus the ability to transfer digital games and DLC to an SD card. All right. You can now port things.
That's not the part I found interesting. What I actually found interesting was the controller mapping aspect of it, to allow you to actually fully configure the controller, have different types depending on what game you play. Like if you're playing it, because a lot of games on the Switch, especially for online, have cross-platform play, and I have a feeling like sometimes the layout of it's a little bit confusing to some people. They're so used to playing certain games on certain controllers that now with the Switch they can make it feel like any other controller they have.
Great story.
So that could possibly work.
Ukes confirms as no involvement in WWE 2K21 as cancellation claimed.
Yeah, I mean there was talks of them only being there in a certain capacity for a little while. Like they were on in like a small capacity, but now they're severing the tie completely, and this is coming on the supposed rumor mill of there not even being a WWE game next for the next installment because of how poorly this last one did.
Well, firstly, let me point out, I don't know, besides this article, what you've read about this, but I've known since last year that Ukes was done with WWE.
Mm.
So this is old news. Wrestling seems to have a leg up on the game side of things. You twerps, get on our level. Ukes pulled out in the process of WWE 2K20. Like, they're like, we're done midway through. Y'all have a good one.
I think maybe the one to focus on more is maybe the fact that like they're trying, maybe this is possibly trying to work on maybe another type of wrestling game instead of the simulation one every year. I think I'm hoping that might be what it is.
Ukes is working on a pro wrestling game that is non-affiliated
Fair.
with WWE. I don't know what the WWE is going to do. Their games have been trash for decades, years. I can count on two hands the number of good WWE games, and there's about 50 or 60 in total. Like, think about that. 10 games and 60 opportunities. And I'm being very generous by saying 10. It's more like 6. So,
Would you say their worst decision is when it went like simulation, like the 2K route? Would you say that was the worst choice they made in this?
no, I would say the worst thing they did with this was rushing games out every single year that didn't need to be rushed out. Hiding characters and creations behind paywalls and DLC that pre-ordered DLC that you had to get just to access, like Sting or Ronda Rousey or The Fiend or whatever. Not working on the gameplay, changing the gameplay every year. That didn't help. Shitty graphics, just the worst graphics, and constantly putting out a goddamn mess every single year because reasons. I don't know what the fuck happened to 2K. 2K used to be the best in sports video gaming. Their basketball franchise is still pretty solid, even if it is filled with fucking gambling. But I don't play that side of the realm, so like fuck those people who are stupid enough to do it. But ever since the WWE got rid of GM modes in their games, fans have been pissed off. From like 2008 to 2009 to now, there's always been huge gripes against these games. I got WWE 2K14 was the last game I got. It was all right. There's no over the moon about it. Oh, wait, no, I got like a more recent one too, didn't I? Yes, I did. I got one for the PS4. Was it 2K18, I think? With Seth Rollins on the cover. So, yeah, they've all been bad. But it's not because of 2K or the simulation. It's just they don't know what they want to be anymore. So
I always felt like this was the one that like when it went this route that they just didn't really like give a crap about it anymore. It seems like.
I don't know which side of the line that is, but someone didn't give a crap anymore. I don't know if it was because it was, compared to the basketball side of things, because it was such a low salary on that realm. Maybe they didn't care at the 2K offices and they gave them like the worst publishers and developers in-house to work on it. I don't know. But Ukes was like, they're done, they're out, and I don't blame them because Ukes does good work and they haven't been doing good work in a few years, and I think a lot of it has to do with being WWE and 2K related. So, here we are. But then again, the WWE didn't want to go to 2K in the first place. They wanted to be with THQ, but THQ closed down. So what are you going to do?
Do you think they could possibly find like another developer to work on these type of games? Maybe possibly start making a new series, make them better.
I don't know, man. Honestly, the company itself is in real dire straits. And I don't know if Vince McMahon even sees the profitability of a video game franchise being worth it anymore. So I don't know.
I remember the XFL went under, like it just went under again, and that's probably another huge like detriment to this possibility of this even happening.
Well, even worse than that, Vince McMahon claimed that the WWE would not be funding the XFL, that it was all his own money and investor money. Well, on the court filings for their bankruptcy, it listed the WWE as being about $32 million involved in the XFL. So now stockholders and people within that realm for the WWE are very upset that they were lied to. And it's going to lead to some very hefty fines because people are going to file lawsuits against the WWE for misinformation.
Damn.
Yeah, so this might be the year that finally kills the WWE because when you have so much of your ground being eaten away on, that's when the idea of being too big to fail comes back to bite you. You lose your foundation, everything becomes top heavy, and then it comes crumbling down on top of you. So they've already fired 45 wrestlers in the span of 5 days.
Jesus Christ.
Yep. They furloughed, I think, 2/5 of their studio and another 3/7 of their offices. They've let go of probably altogether 300 employees.
Dear God, this thing is just crumbling at the seams right now.
Funny thing is, they've only saved like $9 million, and they have like, I don't know how much money, but they have a lot of money still. The reason why they got rid of them is to try to save their bottom line for the quarter. Not because they were bleeding money, but just so they could have a decent profit return at the end of the quarter.
Damn, I'm kind of glad I got out of and like watching this shit when I did.
There's still other promotions doing better work, but yeah, this is not good. This one is interesting. Grand Theft Auto 6 is Rockstar's next game. GTA 6 could be moderately sized at launch and regularly expanded over time. Now, if they're referring to the map, because I have no interest in scrolling down. If they're referring to the map size, that's dumb. If they're referring to the accoutrements and the add-ons and play-on features and stuff like that, that's what Grand Theft Auto 5 did. So, like, whatever, that's fine.
So I found it interesting that they were taking they were considering taking a smaller approach to this and like maybe adding content as they go. I think that could be interesting to see.
Well, I don't know why you're saying it could be interesting. That's literally what they did with Grand Theft Auto 5.
Well, I haven't played. I know about Grand Theft Auto 5, but I didn't know that this was something like that wasn't like relatively new. I thought Grand Theft Auto 5 was just a big blowout thing, and then they just added content onto it because it was so popular.
No. I think the online didn't even come around until like the first 5 or 6 months that it existed. Then like you could play with some guys, and then they added the heists maybe 2 years in. And then they added more heists another year or two in, and they started adding different events you can do online. And eventually the game became self-sustaining, and it's literally the most profitable game of all time because instead of just putting everything out at launch or making everything a downloadable thing, they just kept letting you play new things, and the fan base stayed, and the fan base grew, and the fan base like, oh, I know it's just a skin for my car, but I'm going to buy this thing for $2 in real-world currency. And they made a lot of money off that. But they also made sure that you could play the game without having to be that kind of player. So it was a revolutionary, successful idea, and 6 is, apparently doing the similar thing. Now, I stress, I don't know if this quote unquote moderately sized at launch is about the gameplay map, because 5 was the biggest of all time, at least in the Rockstar universe, or Grand Theft Auto universe at the time. Or if they mean the number of playable features beyond the main story. If it's the latter, then yeah, we just got this with 5, so obviously that's what they would do. If they mean the map, I don't know why they would do that, and that sounds dumb. But it's more than likely the playable features.
I was going to say, yeah, because it wouldn't really make sense to backtrack and make something smaller based off of the fact that you already made it bigger with the last game. That wouldn't make any sense, I don't think.
Plus, you're going to a more advanced console generation, so that means more memory and more, ability to load shit, so...
And Rockstar wants to maximize potential with that kind of stuff, too. They're not looking to go small scale, really.
No. And the location detail will be interesting, because we were in Miami, we were in New York, we were in fucking Hollywood... 3 cheers for Hollywood. So I don't know where we're going to be for the next game.
You have any place that you would want it to go? Is there any place you've really wanted to see recreated in Grand Theft Auto?
The barren wasteland of Siberia.
Okay.
It's literally a game where you can drive around the entire map in about an hour, and there's nothing to do. Literally, like you meet one guy and they go, like, "What do you want to do? There's nothing here. You want to steal a bear?"
Fuck, talk about moderate in size. Damn.
I don't know. Part of me wants it to be kind of completely different. You know, people are like, "Well, let's go to Tokyo or London." That's not different. It's still a big city. Why not go to like Paducah or like fucking Tulsa, Oklahoma?
You want to go fucking like really small cities like what Grand Theft Auto 5 in the fucking suburbs now?
Yeah, Grand Theft Auto 6 going suburbs. The theme song is Ben Folds "Rockin' the Suburbs," and it's just you dealing with like suburban fucking tales, and like you think it's like gonna be like The Sims, but then like you end up murdering a housewife after she wouldn't have an affair with you, and it's also in Grand Theft Auto 6. And you're like, okay, I can work with this. Or like, why not do like Anchorage, Alaska, or Hawaii? Like
Alaska would be fucking interesting. I can see that. That'd be interesting.
How about the Canadian North during winter?
Damn, man, I could just picture like a big like crossing the border scene or something from a game like this. Especially in the hyper-violence that Grand Theft Auto goes for.
Instead of the cops, there's Mounties. Instead of the sirens, there's like little horse heads to let you know like how wanted you are. But like the cops don't even shoot at you; they just rolled up next to you. Hey, can you come with us to jail, please? And then like you drive away and you just go, "All right, that's fine."
Oh man, I can just picture this fucking shit.
You're beating a hooker to death with like a Toronto Maple Leafs hockey stick. Hey, can you stop beating up that hooker, please? Keep doing it until she's dead. All right, I tried. Just walks away.
You literally were just made the comment about something I was actually thinking about, like him like being like a disgruntled like hockey player or something. Like
actually,
that.
You know what? I'm joking about it, but like that would be a cool idea for the story. Like have him be like some like mixed martial artist, hockey, baseball fucking player who's now down on his luck because he fucked up somehow, but he's super fucking famous. So like he has to be really careful with the things he gets involved with. So like you have to like manage like how people see him. And like the things he does, like he has to keep it like on the low down. So like you have to decide on whether or not to let witnesses live or not. Oh, that would be great.
It would you would add like preserving your image. Oh man,
right? Like how cool would that be? Oh, I made this game so much more better than it's ever gonna be.
Like preserving your image as a professional athlete, and like having to deal with an agent and all this other kind of shit going on. That would be interesting.
And
to
then
see
on top of it, you actually have to
take on that.
Yeah, you actually have to play or perform in sporting events too during the game.
Oh, I'm thinking of like fights in hockey now. How brutal they're gonna get. Oh fuck.
Let's see. I hate this fucking the crunch. Fuck off. If you don't want to crunch, then don't be a goddamn video game developer. So yeah, there's nothing in this article. Literally, this entire article is Resident Evil, not Resident Evil. Grand Theft Auto 6 is gonna be the next game. Really?
I want to more or less. I gave you that, but I really just want to more or less make it a talking point because I know this is a series that you like to play.
It's a good series. Gamescom 2020 physical event officially canceled, but organized, working at full speed on digital Gamescom. Great. Who the fuck cares?
It's just the latest in a line of all these fucking things just to get canceled. And this supposedly is one of the, I mean, there's so many. There's a game developers conference, E3, all of these. I believe this one's in Europe, I believe is this, or am I thinking of another one? But yeah, every one of these is like all opportunities to miss showcasing like certain games. And not so much for the big guys, but for indie developers and stuff like that who want to get their games noticed and make connections and stuff like that. It's not an easy time for them right now, and this is one of those things where it has them suffering for it, and that sucks.
Generally don't care.
Never care.
Slide into their DMs on Twitter and show them your dick pic. Boom, you got their attention. You're welcome.
I don't want to mortify them, man.
I don't even want to go there. So YouTube videos. What have you been watching?
Okay. There's a few things here. I would say, uh, of course, I'm gonna Caddy doing his 24 worst YouTube videos ever made. Basically going through all of his old shit on his channel and his reactions to him, and holy fuck, that video was fun.
I thought they were great. I don't know what he's talking about.
He thought they were comedy gold, huh?
I think he tickled my funny bone.
I mean, I could see his point. I like Caddy taking him taking this approach to his videos now. He's going for more like it's not always just what's the newest most popular gaming topic. Now he's just going for just whatever random shit he can come up with, and most of the time it's proved to be pretty entertaining.
Well, you are fairly new to the Caddy show, but the idea of him doing whatever the fuck he wants has been pretty prevalent for a long time.
Oh, so he's done this kind of shit before? This isn't like a whole new thing then. Okay.
Not the idea of going off into random ass tangents that don't make sense. No, he's done that before. He's done that aplenty. It's like, I mean, for fuck's sake, he does an entire video where he talks about a magazine about Peppa Pig. Who
This
the
is
fuck does
fair,
that?
and or I think there was even one where he did his like old comics too, or something that he made as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
Those ones were pretty cool, like the toilet duck or something like that. I thought that was hilarious, but that was me just rewatching stuff to catch up. But
Well, we'll get back to your next video. I want to talk about this one real fast. Inside Gaming talked about the end of Kotaku. Kotaku's head editor left after like 9 years with them, and it highlighted another departure from the website. And they pretty much said when they I forget the term that this is. It's basically a economical conglomerate that buys up companies with the sole purpose of producing a profit from it. And they said when one of these buys your company, the idea of quality goes out the window. Frankly, fuck Kotaku. I long for the day in which they die. That's just me.
yeah, they're not much in the way of reporting actual news. Whenever they report, it's just mostly spin at this point.
Well, the one guy who was reporting it was the editor who left. So, like all those stories about like
yeah, well, that's gone now.
how Anthem was having problems and how Rockstar had crunch syndrome and fucking something else like all reported by the same guy, and he just left. So, yeah. Stop Skeletons from Fighting had a great video. I like that one, the collector's edition.
Oh my god! Like I like the point that he makes about it too. Is that there's literally he just has no interest in it because there's just no space to own them. And what amazes me and doesn't at the same time is all of the Call of Duty things and just how fucking absurd they were.
My favorite was his reaction to the Dead Island bikini babe.
Like this is just gonna make a statement in your house.
I loved how he said like whoever owns this, you know who that person is, and we all know what you're about.
Or the stones or whatever for Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, how fucking stupid those were. Come on.
Couldn't even take them out.
It's just glowing orbs. Ooh, fancy. Take my $100, please.
Titus continues his upload of videos. Have you been watching any of those?
I've been watching. I actually did watch a couple of the episodes of the TV show, and man, that pilot, the first episode, still has me just rolling down, dead with laughter. Man, it's awesome.
What else have you been perplexing on?
Perplexing on. Nice terminology. Okay. There was I never get. I know it's a running gag, but I can never say it right. What happened?
What happened?
On Cooking Mama and the whole debacle that went down with that, and I kind of, I mean, the fact that it went down in the way that it did is crazy for a game like this, but I personally just don't care about the story. I mean,
Well, what I found
come on.
interesting was that it wasn't a story. You know, like all of this big kerfluffle actually wasn't real. You know, so I thought that was actually kind of impressive that he actually took the time to dive deep enough into that whole situation. Like, they're not actually mining for bitcoins. That was just some dumbass who said they were. So I actually appreciated that one. Although I
like
do not
like
give a fuck about
conspiracy for sex, a conspiracy. You know?
I don't give a fuck about the franchise though. So like whatever. Doesn't affect
No,
me.
I don't either. What's another one I liked? A movie reviewer I watched. Since there's no new movies coming out, he's been doing like older movies that he's been meaning to get to. And his name is Chris Stuckman. He does this series called Hilariosity, where he just looks at the most worst movies of all time, just rips them to shreds. He did one on Kazam, had me laughing my ass off, man. It's fucking hilarious.
Such an original
What's
idea.
It's not, but I still found it entertaining. Slopes Game Room did a couple videos on some Sega racing games, some complete histories of Outrun and Super Hang On. I thought those were pretty interesting. Scott the Woz did a video on the Game Boy Color, and aside from that, my YouTube, that's about really it. Like,
Sci-Fi covered the history of Earthworm Jim. Games, toys, cartoon included. Of course, Stop Skeleton from fighting Uncle Derek. He announced that he's doing a podcast.
which we are listening. I'm listening to
yes.
it. I'm going to do that.
Listening to it. I need to find out where it is, and then I'm going to listen to it.
He said it's on Patreon, but you don't need to be a Patreon to listen to it. You can just go there when it's posted, and you can just listen to it there.
It's on Patreon, but you don't need to be a Patreon.
A patron.
There it is. He can be
patron. I like how you GD me every time I say that shit. That's right. He can be taught.
Wait, who?
The genie from Aladdin.
Okay. I thought you said
his line,
GD.
dude.
I'm like, what?
Yeah, genie from Aladdin.
Yeah,
That's right.
Genie.
He can be taught.
Genie. I thought you said GD. I'm like, what?
GD. God damn it, GD.
Gwyneth Paltrow's Netflix show is dumb and horrible. A Man of the Jedi, I ripped it apart, and it was fantastic. A Man of the Jedi is just, she's so goddamn charming in her teardowns of terrible entertainment. I'm about to watch her 3-part video of her tearing apart the 50 Shades franchise, the movies. So,
Oh, Lord.
yeah. Let's see what else we got. Foamy the Squirrel's telling you to fucking chill the fuck out. He's an angry squirrel. Listen to the angry squirrel. He will save your life. Let's see. I've been watching a lot of Resident Evil kind of stuff, but like mostly just like opinion pieces. Nothing really too interesting, unless you're a fan of that specific person. I think that's about it of all the cool stuff. The Punk Rock NBA talked about Pantera and how they got so big. Did not realize the lead singer was a white supremacist, so that's a new thing.
Damn.
Yeah.
Right.
Titus released his podcast, not his podcast, his special Titus Born with a Defect. I believe his live special is what, May 5th? May 7th?
He's doing it on like live on the YouTube or something, or
YouTube or Facebook. He's doing something.
I did not know that actually.
No.
I'm gonna have something else to watch.
I think it's like the first full weekend of May. So like, it's either the 2nd or the 8th, or the first, or it's either the 1st or the 2nd or the 8th or the 9th. I think it's the 9th, if I'm being honest. Let's see. Any final things? I don't think so. I think that wraps us up.
So nothing else from you, huh?
No, I don't think so. I watched the Resident Evil animated films.
I watched something video game related, like movie wise.
All right.
It
What?
was Mortal Kombat Legends, Scorpion's Revenge. That came out on like the 12th, I think, or something like that. That's like the Warner Brothers animated like movie thing they released for it. What I found, I thought it was enjoyable. It starts off like, I'm not gonna go through all that. I'm just saying that it starts off promising, like it's gonna be really serious, but eventually just kind of devolves into just no real story, just fighting the rest of the time, which is fine. But my favorite highlight of it is they casted Joel McHale as Johnny Cage,
That seems
which I
all
think
right.
is, yeah, I'm kind of down with that. It seems fitting. But let's see. Yeah, other than that, the only I mean, I've been playing the bigger games this week as far as like that goes. Played all through Final Fantasy VII Remake and Doom Eternal and a little bit of NBA 2K20, and now I'm working on the Resident Evil 3 remake. So, but other than that, that's it.
Fan-fucking-tastic. Let's wrap this doogie up. RealNerdCorp.com. RealNerdCorp.com. We're on Twitter at NERDCORP, Instagram at RealNerdCorp. We're on Podbean. If you want to download all the past podcasts, you can do so straight to your computer by going to RealNerdCorp.podbean.com or by downloading the Podbean app to your mobile device, searching NerdCorp on the app, and then download and get started to listen. We're also on YouTube.com/ Wrestling Underground and YouTube.com Comic and GameCorp, Twitch.tv / Comic and GameCorp as well. Matt, what's your personals?
You can find me on Twitch at MNerdCorp, same handle on Twitter.
You can find me on Twitter at ChadNerdCorp, ChadNerdCorp, and on Instagram at ChadSphoto at ChadSphotoHut. We'll try to have a game for you guys next week to review. Until then, y'all stay inside. And Matt, if you have anything else, now's the time. Otherwise, say goodnight.
All right, thank you everybody for listening, and just like Chad said, stay safe, and we will talk to you next week.